Hey, Adriana, good morning. Well, south of Nijmegen, so south of Nijmegen, is a place called Margraten. Margraten. Margraten holds the biggest American cemetery for fallen soldiers in the Second World War in Europe. So lots of American soldiers have been buried there, and it's the biggest cemetery in Europe for fallen American soldiers that became that got killed in the Second World War. Now, what is the situation? This cemetery officially is American territory. So it's owned and controlled. Well, maybe not owned, but well, I think it's owned. Anyway, an agreement was made that this cemetery was actually American soil. While of course, it's in the Netherlands, but the Dutch, for this cemetery, gave control to the U.S. government for that territory, and thus it's officially American soil. Now, what is the situation? The American government, basically the people who are controlling this cemetery, removed the information plates that they had there about black soldiers who were fighting in Europe. So information plates about black soldiers, by the American government, have been removed by the American government. So, we Dutch didn't do anything about it. It's the American government that had these plates, these plaquettes with information about black soldiers removed. And now the local politicians, the local Dutch politicians in that area there, are demanding from the American ambassador that those plates with the information about fallen soldiers are going to be placed back again, because removing them, according to the Dutch, is not justifiable because of, well, the history, because they were fighting in the Second World War, so they should be honored as well. You cannot remove information plates from people about people who were fighting in the Second World War, but you just now remove them as if they have never existed. So 11 political parties, which basically means all the political parties there, they call the disappearance of these remembrance plates unacceptable, unjustifiable, and they have sent a letter to the province of Limburg, where Margraten is, and is asking them whether they can, make sure that these plates are going to be brought back. Also, the commissar of the king, every province. I mean, this is the province of Limburg. It's south of Nijmegen, but Nijmegen is Gelderland. Immediately below Nijmegen, you've got the provincial border between Gelderland and Limburg. Margraten is in the province of Limburg. So the commissar of the king, basically the governor of Limburg, but a governor is not an elected body. It's a different governor than in a state in the United States. Has less power. The governor. It's like the commissar of the king. He says that the province, is sharing these concerns, and this governor will very soon have a meeting with the American ambassador, and also on behalf of the province. This is the story. So it's the American government, changing history by removing the remembrance plates for black fallen soldiers in the Second World War as if they've never existed. And there's a local political scandal about it because they were there and they were liberators of that area, and they should be honored as liberators of that area. But it's the Americans taking the information away. Anyway, I suggest you put this story from the Dutch National Press Service, ANP. You put it through Google.
Approximately 1 million African American soldiers fought in Europe during World War II. More than 8,200 Americans are buried at the Netherlands American Cemetery in the southern village of Margraten, just east of the city of Maastricht. Another 1,700 officially counted as missing have their names displayed at the site, according to the American Battle Monuments Commission, ABMC, the U.S. agency responsible for the Dutch site. A total of 174 African American soldiers are buried or memorialized at Margraten, according to the Dutch research project, the Black Liberators. It is the only U.S. military cemetery in the Netherlands. It is not clear exactly when the panels were removed. The panels were added to the visitor center in mid-2024, partly because of pushes from then U.S. Ambassador to the Netherlands, Shafili Rasdan Dugal, the Black Liberators Project said. But they were removed again earlier this summer, the initiative said. The White House, under President Donald Trump, has cracked down on programs aimed at diversity and inclusion, an attitude echoed by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in his reshaping of the Pentagon and the U.S. military. Arlington National Cemetery in March removed references to the history of Black and female service members from its website, and the Pentagon in the same month restored a webpage celebrating U.S. Army Major General Charles Calvin Rogers, a recipient of the U.S.'s highest military honor and a Black Vietnam veteran, after an outcry at its removal. The ABMC has been approached for comment. Helen Chalun, a spokesperson for the commission in Paris, said the panels were designed to be rotated regularly throughout the exhibition to showcase different soldiers' life stories, according to the Dutch newspaper NRC. The Black Liberators Project said the panels detailed the life of George H. Pruitt, a New Jersey-born telephone engineer who died in 1945 while attempting to rescue a fellow soldier from a river in Bremen, northwestern Germany. He was 23 years old. The second panel provided information on the strict policy of segregation in the U.S. military during World War II and the journey of many soldiers into post-war civil rights movements. The U.S. military officially desegregated in 1948. The panel featuring Pruitt is currently not on display, but not out of rotation, Chalun told NRC. A spokesman for the Netherlands Black Liberator Project said this in response to Chalun's comment. The ABMC's response might explain the removal of the story of Technician 4th Class George H. Pruitt, even though it was already the last story to be added. But it does not explain why the panel highlighting racial segregation was removed. We hope that the panels will come back because of the importance of the contribution of Afro-American soldiers to the liberation of the Netherlands, Bovens told Newsweek. The reason for the removal is less important than the return of the plaques themselves, he said. Local and provincial authorities in the Netherlands are discussing plans for a possible alternative memorial, according to Dutch media. Provincial councillors in Limburg have called for a permanent memorial to Black American servicemen to be erected next to the U.S. War Cemetery in Margraten after it emerged that the panels commemorating their part in the liberation of the Netherlands in 1945 have been removed. NRC reported at the weekend that the two panels were taken away from a permanent exhibit at the cemetery, one of which said that Black American soldiers had fought on two fronts, against Nazi occupation and racism.